Hi, my name is Jenny and welcome to my channel, JK Star 88 Reader. So today I'm doing a Friday read. These are the books I want to get to this Friday and into the next week. So let's get to them. The first book I have to show you, it is A Visit from the Goon Squad by Jennifer Egan. So Jennifer Egan has a new book out that was published only recently, a few weeks back. But I decided to go back to read her debut novel. And so this is a book that looks at the life of Benny, who is an aging former punk rocker and record executive, as well as Sasha, who is a passionate, troubled young woman he employs. And so that is just a little bit of what it says on the back. I guess it looks at a host of other characters whose lives they intersect, and it shows you the world working in the music business. And so hopefully it'll be a great and interesting read. I read one other book by Jennifer Egan, and that book was Manhattan Beach, which was a bit of a noir mystery literary thriller that took place during World War II. And so I look forward to reading this book, which is which is an older book, and see how I like it. So the next book I have to show you, it is Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. So this is a book that takes place, is about the French Revolution, and I've decided to go ahead and pick up this book. I actually started this book a few months back, and it is actually on my currently reading list on my Goodreads page. I put this book down for some reason and have decided that it is time to return to this book. I decided to read this book as part of my research into city life, what city life was like during the time that Charles Dickens wrote about during the French Revolution. And so I read one other book by Charles Dickens, and that was Great Expectations, which I found to be really interesting. I loved the writing, even though the story was so-so for me. And so I decided to go back and read more books by Charles Dickens. And so this is the next one on my list, and so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get to it soon. So a non-fiction book that I've been meaning to read and I've had for a while, and that book is A Geography of Hope, A Tour of the World We Need, which is a look at various initiatives to combat climate change and address environmental damage. And so it's a book that was published in 2007. And so the author travels to different parts of the world and interviews people about the various initiatives that they have going to address various environmental issues. And so while it's been more than a decade since this book was published, I've decided it's a good way to look at a snapshot in time in what was happening in 2007 and comparing it to the environmental movement that is happening right now. And so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to get to this week, as I've been meaning to read more nonfiction, and so this is a title that I would like to get to. Finally, I have one other book to show you, and that book is Run Me to Earth. And so this is my library pick of the week, and so this is a book by an author that I've read before. I've read two other books by him. All his books are fairly short, and so I've read a story collection by him, as well as a previous novella. And so this book is Run Me to Earth by Paul Yoon. And so I'll just read what it says in the front cover. And so, inside flap. And so it says, Aliza, Prani, and Noel, three orphans united by devastating loss, must do what is necessary to survive the perilous landscape of 1960 Laos. When they take shelter in a bombed-out field hospital, they meet Vang, a doctor dedicated to helping the wounded at all costs. Soon the teens are serving as motorcycle couriers, delicately navigating their bikes across fields filled with unexploded bombs beneath the indiscriminate barrage from the sky. In a world where the landscape and roads have turned into an ocean of peril, we follow their grueling days of rescuing civilians and searching for medical supplies until Vang secures their evacuation on the last helicopters leaving the country. It's a move with irrevocable consequences and sets them on desperate and treacherous paths across the world. So there's more to the description, but that is what is a book that draws me in. I look forward to reading this book about the war in Laos. So yeah, so I hopefully I'll be able to get to it this week. It's a fairly short book, and so yeah, hopefully it'll be a short but impactful book. And I have this portion of the video I'll be doing a mini haul, and so these are books that I've acquired recently, and so I don't see myself reading them soon, but hopefully in the near future. And so one book that came into the mail is the new book by Emily X.R. Pan, which is An Arrow to the Moon, which is a fantasy novel looking at I don't exactly know what it is, but I think I'll... So this portion of the novel... So finally at this point in the video, I'm doing a mini haul. These are a couple of books I have acquired recently. I don't see myself reading them soon, but hopefully in the near future. So the first of these books is An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. I pre-ordered this book and don't remember what it is about now, but it is a fantasy novel by Emily X.R. Pan, who had a previous novel that she released, and so her other novel was The Astonishing Color of After. And so, although I have that novel, I haven't read. Finally, we are at a point. Finally, it is time in this video for the mini X. Finally, it is time for. Finally, it is time for a mini haul in this video, and so these are a couple of books that I have acquired recently. And so the first book, and it is finally, it is the mini haul portion of the video. Finally, it is the mini haul portion of the video, and so I'll show you a couple of books that I acquired recently. And so one is An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. So this is a fantasy novel by Emily X.R. Pan, and I have one other book by her but have not read it, and that book was The Astonishing Color of After. So while I would like to read this right away, I want to save it until I read her other novel. But this is a novel that is a recent release that I acquired through the mail, and so I don't remember what it is about, but it is a fantasy novel, and so I'll just read what it says in the inside flap to give you a sense of what the book is about. So it says, Hunter Yu has perfect aim with a bow and arrow, but all else in his life feels wrong. He's sick of being haunted by his family's past mistakes. The only things keeping him from running away are his little brother, a supernatural wind, and the bewitching girl of his new high school. So Luna Chang dreads the future. Graduation looms ahead, and her parents' expectations are stifling. When she begins to break the rules, she finds her life upended by the strange new boy in her class, the arrival of an unearthly fireflies, and an ominous crack spreading across the town of Fairbridge. So yeah, so it sounds like a YA title, and so yeah, this is a book that I hope to read in the near future. And the next book I'll show you, and is the last one in this video, and that book is Destiny of Dead. I have one more book to show you, and it is the last book in this video, and this book is Destiny of the Dead by Kel Cade. So I read the previous book in this series, the book that is called Fate of the Fallen. And so I found that to be a very interesting book, and it was my first 5-star read of the year. And so I've decided finally to get the second book in this series, and it is a fantasy travel novel. And so I look forward to reading more of this series and see how I find it. Seeing how much I enjoyed the first book, I have high expectations for the second book. So I finally have it, and I will make sure I have time to read it. So that is it for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!